Hi there VC, Steve Whitty here. Time for another video. It is that time of year when our thoughts start turning to vinyl tag. And this video is the not a very official vinyl tag that was set up by David Atkinson, who had the pleasure of meeting earlier this year and realised that he doesn't live too far away from me. So that's all good. I know he's put a lot of thought into these questions, and there's a lot of thought that's come to some of the answers. You have to scratch the head a little bit with some of these. So without much further ado, let's start with the first one. Show your best vinyl or other format to purchase of 2025. And I've plugged for this the Graham Bond organisation, The Sound of 65. And there's a bond between us. It's a twofer that was released on the Edsel label in the 80s. Both of these albums individually originals are prohibitively expensive, so to find this was good. It was on the back of that on the BBC video I showed, gotta be about September. I just showed Graham Bond live album, so on this I was happy to pick this up just to sort of complete a bit more Graham Bond into the collection. Number 2, share your favourite live musical experience of 2025. And this is quite easy. I was at the Bearded Theory Festival this year in spring bank holiday, end of May, and a lot of good bands. I managed to see Which and got a couple of the albums at the Rough Trade shop that was operating at the festival. But the absolute musical highlight was on Sunday afternoon, Sunday lunchtime. Shown a Knife played a set of their own songs. And then later on in the afternoon, they moved into another stage and they did their Ramones tribute. They call themselves the Osaka Ramones, and it was just literally half an hour of just banging away Ramones tunes, even doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, and just it was just absolutely wonderful. It was the cherry on top of a very good festival. So, question 3: your record collection in 10 years' time. Is it going to be bigger, smaller, or about the same? 10 years' time, I'll be 70, if I make it. If that is the case, I'm going to say my record collection is going to be smaller. There comes a time when you start thinking about how you're going to dispose of things when to be more morbid when you're gone. And I'm lucky enough that I do have a nephew and niece that both buying records. My nephew particularly has just picked up the hobbies now. He's got his own house, so he's not going out as much. So he's sort of swapped with other hobbies. So that's what's going to happen. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to be full, and I thought, could I extend it into sort of like the dressing area where, and I've just said no. Once it's full, and that will be one in, one out. That's how I'm going to view it. But gradually, particularly if I retire, I should retire at 67, my income will drop and I won't be buying as many records, if at all. So yes, I foresee in 10 years' time, my collection will be a little bit smaller. Okay, question 4. You move into a new home and you play one record turned up to 11 to announce your arrival. What is it and why? I'm going to play AC/DC Back in Black. I've been forever showing this. It is my favourite record of all time. So if I'm going to test the system out, I'm going to play my favourite record. If it don't sound good on that, it'll never sound good. And the thing is, best one in the world, when you set up your equipment in your new home, in your new music room, it ain't going to sound right. So you're going to have to play it again. And it's still not going to be right. So you tweak it again. So you play it again, you play it again. So my neighbours will know that AC/DC Back in Black is my favourite record. That's not my answer to that. Question 5. Show 2 albums, one each, your favourite male and female singers. Why these 2? I'll show with the male. Joe Jackson's Look Sharp. I got into Joe Jackson when I was 14. Look Sharp. I brought a 10-inch single called One More Time. and it had a badge that said "Look Sharp," and I used to wear it on my school lapel, blazer lapel, and always got into trouble for doing it, but I wouldn't take it off. And Joe Jackson's always stayed with me. I've got a few of his albums. I know he's touring next year, though he's not playing Birmingham, which I'm disappointed about. I'll see what I can do to get to the nearest gig. And yeah, he's just been one of my favourites, a constant in my music, in my record buying and music listening. So yeah, that's my favourite male singer. My favourite female singer, and it would have been obvious to have gone Kate Bush, but I'm actually going to plump for someone that I know, does gigs locally. She's had records put out in my mate's record shop, and he has a little label. This is Carrie Martin. This is her third album, Evergreen. This album features Jim Wolfe, Oliver Wakeman and Roger Fisher on here as well. I described her, she's a great guitar player. She's got a wonderful voice. I would say it's prog and with folk in as well. It's just, she's just wonderful. I've seen her a few times, and she's a nice person to boot. The problem she's got is how you get that big breakthrough. She does the shows. She's had incidences where she's supposed to be playing the show the next day, and they pulled the plug last minute because not enough tickets have been sold. It's in a way, she just highlights the struggle of being a working musician at the moment. But I would say she's my favourite female singer at the moment. Okay, question 6. We like to have fun here. Shows your 3 top soul dance records. I'll go soul. So first one, compilation, which you see everywhere in cheap bins or wherever. This is Soul. You've got on here Wilson Pickett, Mustang Sally, Carla, Baby, Babies, Sweet Soul Music, Arthur Conley, When a Man Loves a Woman, Percy Sledge, because you do need to slow down now and again. I've Got Everything I Need, Sam and Dave, What is Soul, Benny King, Fa 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 Fa, Sad Song, Otis Redding, Knock on Wood, Eddie Floyd, Keep Looking, Solomon Burke, I Never Loved the Man the Way I Love You, Aretha Franklin, Warm and Tender Love, Percy Sledge, and then Land of the Thousand Dances, Wilson Pickett. It's just a wonderful record. If you don't need to soul, if you just want one soul record, this will do you. Talking of Aretha Franklin, I put Lady Soul as the second one. Some great songs, Chain of Fools, People Get Ready, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, Grooving, Ain't No Way. Maybe not so much dance, maybe more of a sway around, but it's a great album. And in the This Is Soul, I mentioned Otis Redding. If I was to form a fantasy band, he'd be the man I would have leading the vocals, because I think he could do anything. And it's hard to pick an album. It's obviously I could have gone Otis Blue, but I'm going to go the Soul album. Got here Just One More Day, It's Growing, Cigarettes and Coffee, Chain Gang, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, Good to Me, Baby Scratch My Back, Treat Her Right, Everybody Makes a Mistake, Any Old Way, and 634 5789. Absolutely corky. As I said, any Otis Redding, you can't go too wrong with that. Okay, question 7. A real stinker. Nominate a track you hate from an album. Why the hate? Love this album, The Cult Electric. But they did include a cover of Born to Be Wild on here, and it's a song that I've never, ever, not the song itself, but the version I never really got on. To me, it sounds just like a B-side. It should have been stuck on a B-side and maybe brought out as when they did the reissues. However, there is an even worse version of Born to Be Wild that came out around the same time by Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction. That is truly horrendous. Question 8. If you had to pick only one album from each of the last 6 decades, what would it be? Hard one. This is the one that got me thinking a lot. The 60s one particular. Yeah, there's so many great albums of the 60s. And in the end, I've plumped for the 60s. I've plumped for Revolver, Beatles' Revolver. I think this is the album that signifies things had changed, and because they were the sort of like the leaders, things were changing, and everybody else followed suit. And the songs on here, I don't need to tell you what the songs are, but this beautiful old mono copy of mine, and yeah, it's my favourite Beatles album of all time, obviously, but it's also just a great album. I don't think there's a duff song on here. For the 70s, I've plumped for Sparks' Kimono My House. This is in my top 3 albums of all time. And obviously the opening track, This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us. But you've got Amateur Hour, that was another single. And then you've got Falling With Myself Again. Thank God It's Not Christmas. Hasta Mañana, Monsieur. It's just some great songs on here. Sparks have never bettered this album. For all their great albums they put out, but they've never bettered this album. And I'm happy to say this is my favourite from the 70s. I already showed this one earlier. But my 80s album would be AC/DC, Back in Black. It is my favourite album of all time. Out of everything I've got, this would be, as I said earlier, this is my favourite all time. Nothing will sway me from that. I think the thought factor came in when it comes to the 90s onwards. Because anyway, I stopped buying albums, I was buying CDs. But I thought I'll stick it to the vinyl because I've been sort of patching up gaps that of favourite albums. So for the 90s, I've gone for Radiohead, The Bends. To me, their best album. You've got the singles High and Dry, Fake Plastic Trees, a withering attack on consumerism, Street Spirit, Fade Out. I think that was the track that sealed the deal for that. Yeah, it has been my favourite album. My Iron Lung, just the video to that, just amazing. It's just I just think it's just and again, another what I call a perfect album. The 2000s, I've plumped for Archive. You Look All the Same to Me. I've shown this before, and partly because I have said this is my favourite record of all time. No, the song is the opening track. Sorry, again, is my favourite song of all time out of everything. 16 and plus minutes, perfect build up. Archive sort of trip hop, sort of like Portishead with prog. That's how I would describe them. They came out of South London in the early 2000s. Huge in Europe, particularly France. They've done soundtracks to movies over there. And yeah, this is just wonderful. If you can stream it, get it. I was so lucky to find that when they reissued this, I was on the ball and got a copy straight away. And finally, for the 2000s and 10s, I've gone for Bowie's Black Star. We're coming up next month to the 10th anniversary of his passing. He dropped this album on his birthday, and by the end of the week, by the Monday morning, he'd gone. This album, the more you listen to it, the more you can pick up the signals that this is goodbye. The end was coming. The video is particular, when you watch him again. And for Bowie, for all his changes, he went out on a high. That's how you can describe it. And yeah, I'm happy to say this is my 2010's favourite album. Okay, moving on to question 9. You get the opportunity to spend a day alone with one artist, walking a mountain trail, the beach, or hanging out in the city. Who would be that artist? My first musical hero, Mark Bolan. Short life, but put a lot into it. He started off as a male model, featured Sunday magazine as Marty, talking about where he got his clothes from, how he hustled for his clothes. Then he wanted to be a pop star. He released a couple of solo singles. Then he ended up in John's Children when that imploded, and he lost his electric guitar. It was seized, so he had to start again with acoustic guitar and with a bongo player, and formed Tyrannosaurus Rex with Steve Peregrine Took. He has faults. The man had an ego. He could bullshit for England. And this sort of leads on to question 10. What would be your must-ask question? And I'm going to say, for this, to Mark Bolan, why did you drop John Peel like a stone? Well, he championed you at the start. He got you airplay, introduced you at gigs. Yet, because he had the nerve to criticise one of your later singles, which didn't hit his tastes, you just blocked him out of your life. It seemed so petty. But that was Mark Bolan's ego running out of control. I hope that's what he meant by question 10, David. Question 11. Show a record that contains a track that always brings a tear to the eye. Or am I a heartless bastard? There is a track. I haven't got a copy of it. We're coming up to Christmas, and on the radio, BBC Radio 2, they do a thing called Junior Choice. It used to be popular on the Saturdays with Pod Stewart. Now he's got sadly passed on. Annika Rice does it. And basically the premise is you request songs to be played, and they normally do it on the Christmas Day, and it's usually people that are reminiscing about songs they grew up with. And they'd request, and the Christmas one that they do, the special they always do every Christmas, is usually the one song that gets picked, and it's Puff the Magic Dragon. And look, whenever I hear it, I have my Christmas Day weep, to be honest, because people say, well, it's a children's song, or it's a song about somebody that's lost his weed or something like that. But I always associate the song with loss, because the last verse, Jackie Piper never came to play anymore, and Puff the Magic Dragon was left all alone, and it had great prominence in 2020 when, due to COVID, I had to spend Christmas on my own, and that was gut wrenching. It was hard mentally for me. Yeah, so that's the song always makes me weep, because I associate it with loss, and remembering people that I've known. This year I've lost 2 people. I lost a friend. I lost my auntie. So, it's part of life, I suppose. Question 12. Show 3 albums from artists you've tried and tried to love, but question why you bother. I'm only going to have one artist. I mean, 3 albums by him. I like him. I went for a stage where I like listening to him, but I don't think I've ever loved him. I've not rushed out to get to his latest release. And the artist, Bob Dylan. So I've shown one from the 60s, the freewheeling Bob Dylan, where everyone has got excited because obviously the new issue for Record Store Day. Desire from the 70s. It's got Hurricane on it, one of my favourite Dylan tracks. I do like that track. And then Mozambique as well. And then Time Out of Mind came out late 90s. It's another one I really like. But overall, I find it difficult to love Dylan. I don't know why. As I said, I just don't go rushing out buying Dylan just for when it comes out. I've got none of the bootleg series, and it's just one of those artists you do. But I've got a lot of his albums, but I just don't feel a connection with the guy. So next question 13. Show an album from an artist whose character disappoints you. Or can you separate the artist from the art? I can on this one. Up until recently, for the past over 10 years, I led what's called a plant-based diet. Some people call it veganism. Don't get confused with plant-based diet with veganism. Veganism's the whole thing. It's not just the food. An artist whose records I've got, who probably is the polar opposite of having a plant-based diet. Ted Nugent. Now, I can separate because I've got a few of Ted Nugent's albums and they're bloody good. And I listen to the music. I don't listen to the man that's spouting on about hunting or whatever views he's got. That doesn't interest me. If I went and picking holes in every character, every record I've got here, I wouldn't have a very big collection. But the music's good, and that's the important thing. Question 14. If you had to sell all your vinyl along with your record player, show the one album you would hold on to as a keepsake. This was a very tough question because I could have gone Back in Black, my favourite album of all time. That might be hurting a bit much. And I thought the bigger picture here, and I think music to me is a shared thing. It's even better if you can share it with family. Now, my family have broad tastes. I think they'd turn their nose up a lot of what I've got on the shelves. However, one artist we all agree on, we all like. So I would keep Queen's Greatest Hits, just primarily. Somebody else has a record player, say my nephew still got his record player. I could take this round and we could all have a listen and a sing song together. Question 15. Discuss your VC highlight of 2025. It's easy. It was the Leeds meetup in June the 14th, 2025. It was 2 days after my birthday, so I had some work and whip round for my birthday. It was the 60th birthday, so it was a big one. Met Gav Axelman Spins for the first time. Went up with John 6-inch pianist. Met David Atkinson, and that's when we found out. We was talking. That he literally through the park. That's to the back of me. He's about 20 minutes away from me. Obviously meeting Headley, Nick Varnell, but the whole gamut of people that we met up with. And had a good day. The weather was good. The fair was good. Leeds Fair is always good. It's always. I think it's worth going one or two times a year just to check it out. And there's some great shops in Leeds. Leeds is a great place, actually, a great city. So yeah, that was it. I didn't really do a video as such. I just did a video of finds on it. But I think David published one and Gav published one, John published one where he got footage of people around. So search for those. They're worth seeking out. Okay. 16. Name your favourite musical biopic. If you have one, I don't have one at all. I don't watch films as a rule. My attention span isn't that great to sit through an hour and a half, up to 2.5 hours of any film. But I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody, and the problem is, if I just was watching a biopic, I'd be going, not right, not correct, and I'd ruin it for everyone. So I'd rather not watch it. I'd rather not watch it. So no, I haven't been to the cinema this millennium. So not this century, this millennium. 17. Give 3 reasons why jazz matters and show a favourite album. I admit it, I'm not a big jazz fan. I'm slowly buying some jazz to see what it's all about. I haven't picked one album. I've picked 3 albums out. I might have misread this question. It is a very popular genre, and the biggest problem is, if you're not a fan, is knowing where to dip your toe in. So what I'm looking for, it is that it's a long-standing popular genre. That's why jazz matters. It's been going for over a century. You look at Louis Armstrong from there. It's part of the makeup of rock and roll. In the UK, Chris Barber's jazz band had Lonnie Donegan, the king of skiffle, and from that, thousands of kids formed skittle bands. Obviously, the most famous is the Quarrymen. But Jimmy Page appeared on television playing with a skiffle band. It's probably one of the purest forms of music you get out there, because it was a do-it-yourself. You know, somebody had a guitar, great, but if somebody had a tea chest and a broom handle and a piece of string, that was a bass. I was reading an interview with Danny Thompson, who sadly passed away, and that's how he got into it. And then for percussion, washboard. UK were a bit behind everyone else. We didn't have washing machines. You washed it. Mum did the washing on the washboard, but she also sewed as well. So there were a lot of thimbles, and so you had the rhythm from that. And what I am beginning to appreciate with jazz, third reason, is it does soothe the soul. And you know, 3 albums. You know, I've got 2 for Time Out and Time Further Out by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Probably my first inkling of jazz was Crusaders' Street Life. It was a hit single in 1979. I would never have been aware, probably apart from watching Chris Barber on the telly or Black and White Minstrels, forgive me. And then I look at Miles Davis, a name that comes straight up as one of the kings of jazz. So, slowly getting there with jazz. This month, I've been buying a bit of jazz, actually. So, wait until my December finds video. Question 18. You're an innocent man on death row. They give you one last musical request. What do you ask for? I could have been post-faced about it and gone, but it was it in my life. But no. Those of you who know the story of Gary Gilmore, he went to his execution, death house, and the van, and had suddenly on the radio was George Baker's selections Una Paloma Blanca. And you sometimes fall down an Instagram black hole, and you've seen, I don't know if you've seen the videos, they're mainly from Japan, where people are going to the opening chords of Una Paloma Blanca, like that. You know what? If I'm going to meet my maker in an electric chair, gallows, whatever, I think I would like that, go out like that. If it's the firing squad, I'd like the firing squad to come in like that with their weapons as well. So that's question 18. 19. Sell your favourite artist to a new listener. Show one essential album and explain why they should make time for it. My favourite artist is Rush. And it has been since I was about 16. I was lucky to see him on the Moving Pictures Exit Stage Left tour at Stafford Bingley Hall, one of my first gigs. And I've been hooked ever since. The thing with Rush, I think what sells it, if you like prog, you've got prog. If you like rock, hard rock, there's hard rock. If you like electro synths, rock, there's that as well for them, the 80s output. There is something for everyone there. Lyrically, musicianly, it can't be topped. You know, Neil Peart, one of the best rock drummers of all time. It's also, I'm recording this on the 17th of December. Sunday, 21/12, 21st of December. Happy Rush Day. So if you want a album, have this. You've got an opening one side, magnum opus of a track. And then you've got some other tracks on there, but it's not things like Something for Nothing, Passage to Bangkok, Twilight Zone, Lessons, and even the ballad Tears. If you want one essential album, Moving Pictures would be the one. But if you're going to get an album on Sunday, get Rush's 21/12 and play that. Happy Rush Day, everyone. And then final question 20. You're arranging a VC meetup in 2026. Excluding those you've already met, invite 3 people you'd most like to meet. Those 3 people are Steve Carlson, who's a kindly commented on my videos now and again. Jonathan, cheap and cheerful record collector. He has been over and he has met Headley. He did some digging with Headley. And I've got Vance Zappel. He's been very kind and commented on my videos. And he's done a really good video. He went and saw Robert Plant recently, and he discussed it. And he's done a video. It's quite a long one, where he discusses the album, but shows little snippets of the show. He went both nights. He's from Chicago. That was good. Jonathan, I would like to ask him about his experiences at Woodstock. I'm sure he's sick to death of talking about it. And Steve Carlson, just an all-round good guy who bounced back from having that shocking disappointment, having most of his collection wiped out from flooding. He handled that with such fortitude. Yeah, top man. So there you go. Those are my 20 answers to the questions set by David. I hope they meet your approval. It's a bit of a long video. I can see the clock there. Maybe a bit of editing that needs to be done, so I might bring it down a bit. I'll look forward to seeing everybody else's vinyl tag answers. This is a great time of year, especially if you're new to making videos, to actually announce yourself. You can subscribe, watch as many as you like, and subscribe to as many as you like. This is just fun. There's nothing to it. It's no contest. It's just a bit of fun. So, if you like what you see, thumbs up, thumbs down. Love the interaction. Feel free to leave a comment. I will get back to you. And if you're so inclined, why not subscribe? So whatever you get up to this weekend, VC, keep on spinning. More importantly, keep on smiling.